Hi, welcome to webinar number 2 for the month of March. My name is Shawn Morton. I'm your orchestra community moderator, brought to you by the Georgia Department of Education. So we're going to talk first about recruiting this month, which definitely many of us are in the recruiting season. And if you're not in the recruiting season, you will be at some point. So I think it's a pretty apropos topic. We're going to talk about vertical teaming, and then we're going to wrap it up today with some student opportunities for extension and growth. So let's start talking about recruiting. So before we delve into the recruiting process, let's talk a little bit about why we recruit. Definitely recruiting is a process. It's not a one-time event. I think if you treat it like a one-time event, you may get one-time results. So definitely thinking about different things that add up to the whole recruitment process. In addition, we're recruiting because our programs really depend on it in order to survive. We know that a healthy recruiting and a solid retention are really the formula for success for our programs. And without that good recruiting and solid retention, we don't have programs. So I think we definitely see the value in that for recruiting. And then as you're recruiting, you want to have your end goal in mind. What should your program look like? What are you recruiting for instrumentation wise? Do you have enough students to make a healthy sounding group? What's your school population like? Are you going to have enough students in your school to have this size group? So you want to know what's realistic for your school. Do you have a huge sixth grade? And so everybody can have big programs. Do you have a tiny sixth grade? And so everybody's programs are small. Or maybe you work at a school where you're recruiting against lots of other programs. Or maybe you work at a school where you're only recruiting against one or two other programs. So all of these are factors to think about as you're making your recruiting plan. And then last but not least, I think you definitely want to leave wiggle room. So much of the time, our students over the course between 6th and 12th grade, because we want to think about orchestra as a 7-year program, they're going to drop our class either because they move, they have a schedule conflict, they have some sort of reason that they don't want to take orchestra anymore. I don't know why anyone would want to do that, but it happens every now and then. Or even more so, we have really issues sometimes with transients in our schools. So it's really important that you know the transients level of your school because that may affect how you recruit. You may need a little more wiggle room for your ideal program to be successful if your school has a really changing population. So it's important to kind of know those things going into recruitment. We also recruit because we see the value of it in creating better students. We know that students benefit from these programs, and we have benefited from these programs as students. So we know the value of that, as well as creating students who are going to be our lifelong appreciators and contributors to music in our society. So most of us don't have students that are going to play in major symphonies. We every now and then get lucky and get one of those kids, but the majority of our kids will go on to do other things outside of the arts fields. And so it's really important that those students leave us and understand the value of arts education, understand the value of arts in our community so that they will continue those traditions in our communities and with their own families. And then last but not least, we know that it contributes to a positive school culture and overall good for our community. We know attendance rates are higher when kids are involved in activities like arts, as well as their grades and graduation rates are higher and test scores. So we really know that leads to that positive school identity and culture. So that's an important reason for us to recruit. So a few tips and tricks I've kind of picked up from everybody over the years is good relationships are key year round. You want to be friends with as many people as you can so that when it comes time when you need help getting organized for recruitment, you've got those people to help you out. You definitely want to already have that relationship set up with if you're a middle school teacher, the elementary teacher, if you're the high school teacher, the middle school teacher. So you have that good vertical teaming relationship as well as the people in charge of helping with logistics. You want to set that schedule of recruiting activities well in advance so that everybody knows what to expect. Logistics are planned and there's no error. We definitely want this to be a positive experience for all parties involved, especially the students. Some of the best advice I got as a young teacher from a mentor of mine was to be the most extreme version of myself when recruiting. So not everybody is outgoing or not everybody's really, really jumpy and excited all the time. And some people are more shy or quiet natured or more extroverted versus introverted. And so Whatever your personality is, find that personality and then make it the biggest it can be so that the students know you and not some fake version of you, but they see you at your best and the most exciting version of you. You want to make it a fun experience when you recruit. You probably don't want to yell at kids unless you absolutely like something crazy happens. You just want to make it a great time. Dressing in bright colors is always attractive for kids. They remember you. It makes you more visually appealing. You want to smile at kids. They tend to like teachers that smile at them and make them feel welcome and have a lot of energy. If you aren't energetic and excited about your program, it's going to be hard for them to be energetic and excited about your program. And then you every day have to talk that talk and walk that walk. If you have a reputation with your students about being that kind of teacher that is wonderful to them, cares for them, is engaging, is a great teacher, models all those great behaviors, that word will spread in the community and they will flock to your program. If you get the reputation of being someone that doesn't work well with others, is nasty to kids, has a short fuse, that reputation will also spread. So you want to make sure the other one spreads, the one where you're awesome, so that maybe you can continue to use that as a bargaining tool for recruiting. And then last but not least, if you can work it out so that you can spring and fall recruit, that often yields the most powerful results. Fall recruiting is ideal if you have to choose between the two because the kids are already in middle school and it feels real to them. Many of us now are being pushed into spring recruiting due to scheduling, et cetera, et cetera. So if you can work it out to do some kind of combination of both, I think you're going to get the most bang for your buck. Maybe if your big push has to be in the spring, maybe you can still do something small in the fall, right at the beginning to get those kids in. So recruiting for the middle school. So you want to work with those elementary music teachers to set up a plan. They're going to be your best resource. You want to be visible, not just at recruitment time. You want them to know you and see you. Maybe you plan something down at the elementary school. Maybe you play the candlelight luncheon or you do some different activities down there. You want to give a concert at the elementary school or have them come to you. That's always a great way to start out the recruiting process. You can use your current students to perform. You can pick fun music that the kids will love. Play a piece that they get to play in the first year. If your students get to play Fiddles on Fire their first year, play that. Because then the students will say, oh, this is something you get to play your first year. And they'll say, oh, that's going to be real for me. You can definitely use this as a retention activity with your own kids. Always a great idea to say, hey, we're going to go play at the elementary school, and then I'm going to take you to get pizza or Chick-fil-A or something exciting for them. And then one of the best ideas I've seen recently for recruiting in the middle school level to get kids in is with the sticker. So I have an elementary schooler, and he'll come home all the time with Chick-fil-A Spirit Night tonight, or join the Boy Scouts, or blah, 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 all these stickers. So you can print off stickers that say, ask me about fine arts, or ask me about joining orchestra, and you can put a QR code on the sticker. And at the end of the day, the elementary teachers will just pop those on the kids' shirts. And then when they get home, their parents will see this sticker, and it'll say, ask me about fine arts. And it has a QR code. And the parents can scan that sticker and get all the information. So they're not relying on a 10-year-old to bring home a piece of paper. I think that's a great idea. And it just makes everything electronic and easier to organize. So here's a couple examples of some things we've used recently. We have a pretty strong relationship with our middle school program here in my cluster. So we actually are using the high school kids also as a way to get the word out, as well as other middle school kids that are already in the program. So this was an Instagram post we used. We said, do you know a fifth grader? So any old fifth grader will do that goes to school in our cluster. We said, tell them to join the orchestra program. Tell them why it's great. And it has this QR code again for them to sign up and get the information that they need. So we used this and blasted it out on our social media, as well as put it on our newsletters that we send out to parents. And this is like a fun little poster or information sheet you can put out or leave up somewhere why they should join orchestra. It just gives them those quick visuals to remember, oh yeah, this looks like it'll be fun. So some more ideas for recruiting from the middle school, or for the middle school, sorry. So postcards home. Postcards are pretty cheap to mail, so I think this is a good idea. I think some of my colleagues this summer did this. They took postcards. They said, hey, come and join orchestra in 6th grade this year. And you could put that QR code on there, and you can mail those home during the summer, make them really attractive to all your incoming 6th graders. And then again, they've gotten a piece of mail in the summer. and just reminds them, hey, this is going to be awesome. And you can send this home to every incoming sixth grader. You can spend time introducing each instrument in your recruiting presentation. You can do it. You can have students do it, high school students, high school teachers, other professionals, whatever works for your situation. In general, I find to play the coolest tunes on bass and viola is really helpful. Now, if your school is amazing and you always have huge bass and viola numbers, then play the coolest tunes on violin and cello. Know what your strengths are at your school and make it fit. If you have electric instruments, those are fun to get out. You can tell the kids, like, we don't play these during class necessarily all the time, but these are really cool ways you can use your instrument and try out things. Using props is always great. I have some colleagues that are masters at the props. If you're playing Jaws, you can wear a shark hat. If you are going to play We Will Rock You, you can have blow up guitars. You can do all kinds of silly things to just make it memorable and quick for the kids. One of our favorite things we've done is to have fractional sizes. So kids are always worried about that they're small. They see that cello or bass and they go, oh, I'm too small for that. But you can have a tiny, like a 16th size violin, and you can put it in your pocket or your purse, and you can get it out of your purse and be like, I have my violin. And the kids will just go crazy because they see that tiny little violin, and it shows them that, look, there's an instrument size for all of you, no matter how tall or how small you are. And I think that really helps ease their worries about that maybe they're too small to play cello or bass or even viola. Some of them stress out about that. So I got this from Angela Harmon's website. She has an amazing website packed with activities and different things that are free for everybody. I loved this little sheet. She says, join our orchestra invasion. What I really liked about this form and why I think it's effective is the space is limited. Well, I've never limited the number of kids I can take in my class, but you can make them think it's an emergency. If you make kids think something is an emergency, they're more likely to be like, oh, I got to do this right now. So they fill out the form. And then what I really liked at the bottom is she said, give me names of a friend you're going to want to have in this class. And she's going to try to schedule them together. And we do that too at the high school. Or you could say, tell me the name of a friend you think would also want to be in orchestra, and you could reach out to those kids. So there's all kinds of ways you could use this. I really thought this was a neat graphic that she used, the orchestra invasion. You can definitely have student helpers. I think the students are always a great recruiting tool, but make sure your student helpers are diverse. You want your students to represent the other students in the audience. Kids want to see people that look like them playing instruments. So you definitely want to have a representative group of students and make it sure it's a mixture of boys and girls too. You want a good variety of different kids demonstrating those instruments. And then also there's some great tunes here that you can use. If you haven't seen The Guest Soloist by Richard Meyer, it has a prepared violin. So anyone can play the solo. Anyone, even a kid right out of the audience. SpongeBob SquarePants, if you say to a group of incoming sixth graders, are you ready, kids? They're going to know exactly how to answer that. Dudley Do-Right Story by Bob Phillips is super fun. I have a copy if you need one. Jaws, you can play Jaws on the bass and then have someone jump out and scare the kids. Always gets them freaked out. Pink Panther is really cute. Kids can do the percussion while the other people are playing. We Will Rock You always has the stomp, stomp, clap, stomp, stomp, clap. Perfect. Movie tunes, pop tunes, video game tunes. If you don't know those things, it's no problem. You have got a walking dictionary of those items sitting in your classroom every day called students. So just ask them. They will help you figure out what the cool tunes are. So if you can let students touch instruments, I think that's the greatest way to get them in. It just feels real. I know we're in the middle of a global pandemic, so you may need to prepare sanitizing stations or rotations, some way that you can set up a way for them to try instruments. I think is really important. You can have a garage band loop going and just have the kids play open D, and they think they're so amazing when they do that because they sound good right away on a string instrument. Instrument petting zoo nights are great if you need to split it up into smaller groups. If you can do giveaways, something they can remember, whether it's a sticker that says I Heart Orchestra or, the Diodario gives away those free stickers. I'm a cello cowboy, a violin ninja. I can't remember all of viola vampire, poor violas. So, etc. Those are really fun. Or any kind of giveaway. Definitely ask your administration though so you don't get in trouble. And then as students are leaving your room, ask them, say, what instrument are you going to play? Don't say, are you going to join orchestra? Because that makes it seem like an option. Make it seem not optional. Say, what are you going to play? What are you going to play? What are you going to play? And if they say oboe, say, that is amazing. If they say, I'm going to play the drum, say, awesome. And when they say they're going to play cello, you can say, I love it. That's fantastic. So definitely you want to just give them that positive experience no matter what group they choose to be in. Make the turnaround quick. And if possible, give the students their first choice. And you can do those QR code stickers or forms to return. So here's some examples of some giveaways you could do. You could do pencils. I thought these were really cute pencils with your name on them. So your organization or just orchestra, or you got some fun stickers. This was another one from Angela Harmon's website. She had Be Part of Our Show. She had a whole theme and did some stickers and posters and all kinds of like little cute little postcards and stuff. So you could do that. You can do all kinds of fun little giveaways. Sometimes a Jolly Rancher does just as well. So now we're talking about recruiting from middle school to high school. High school directors, it's your job to be visible to those middle school kids and to the middle school teachers. Helping with the sixth grade recruitment is a great way. When those sixth graders see you from the beginning, you're just part of that natural process of orchestra. Going and tuning at the concerts or going down there and working with the students and teaching them or doing sectionals, always a good way. Definitely you don't want the day that you go down there to do your big recruitment spiel to be the first time those eighth graders have ever seen you. They should know your face just even a little bit so that you're not a stranger danger to them. Invite the eighth graders to do something social up at the high school or invite them to come play a concert. Really, they just want to be part of something and they want to feel less nervous about high school. So, bringing in your kids to play for the middle school kids is great and impressive and fancy, but really, they don't care about how well those kids play. They already know that kids can play. They really want to know, how is this going to fit? How am I going to make this happen? Am I going to get stuffed in a trash can in high school? They're just stressed about the whole process of going to high school. So if you can actually bring in some high school students to lead some discussions with eighth graders, not just about orchestra, but about high school in general, that really gives the kids a more positive vibe and it just helps them feel a little less stressed about what's coming. Sample schedules are your best friend to show them a 4-year plan, how they can make it all fit. We definitely show our ninth graders 3 possible ninth grade schedules that are easy for them to do, as well as a 4-year plan. And that way they know exactly what to expect. I think it's important that you know more than the counselors know about the graduation requirements so that you are a good resource for them for information during high school. You want to brag about your students, brag about all the great accomplishments, not just musical accomplishments, but if you have the valedictorian every year, brag about that. Tell them about all your amazing things. This is the time to show off all the cool things your program does. Make sure that students understand you can do clubs, you can do sports, you can do all the things in high school and still be an orchestra. Many kids don't think you can do both and they don't understand. It's just a class, it's just part of your school day. Show pictures of your kids at all your cool events and your concerts and your activities. They will be so impressed to see all your kids having fun and all your cute students just doing amazing things. It really just makes them feel warm and fuzzy. And honestly, that makes them feel less stressed about high school. So here's a sample 4-year plan that we use for our students. I made this many years ago, and as the graduation requirements have changed over time, I've updated it. But it shows them how they can make it fit in our current situation and what our school requires for graduation in our county and our state. So you can see each year is mapped out. It shows them how orchestra will fit and then where they have room to plug in other things. It mentions health and PE. It also shows that, they can have elective sciences. It really kind of just lays everything out nice and neat for them and helps them understand, okay, this is doable. I can see this working. So some more things that you can do recruiting from the middle school. If possible, do something for your rising ninth graders. We do t-shirts that say class of, this year it's 2025, I think that's coming in. But definitely, if you don't have the money for t-shirts, do just something little. We do case tags for our students that are personalized with our logo as well as their name in there. So they already have something that relates up to the high school orchestra. You could do magnets. You can do all kinds of fun things. One of the best things we've ever done that we stole from a colleague and has been more effective than anything you could ever buy students was for each eighth grader to receive a handwritten letter from a high school orchestra student. So each of your orchestra middle school students receives a letter from the high school student. And we give them a template, and the kids write these letters. And then our officers help me check each letter to make sure the content is all good and appropriate and everything. They make pretty envelopes. We envelope them, put the kid's name on them, and each little eighth grader in our orchestra program gets a letter from a high school kid, and it makes them feel special. You do candy and treats or popsicles in the spring when it's hot outside. Any number of things will work. We also make a photo board of all of our incoming ninth graders. So we take each of the eighth graders' pictures, put it on a big display board, put a label underneath with their name on it, and put it up in the room so that our students that are here see who the new students are that are going to be coming. And it helps us learn the names faster too. We can recognize their faces. This year, I guess we need to take it with a mask. We recognize what they look like with a mask on too. If you can work with your curriculum AP to make sure that they schedule your ninth graders not against something that every ninth grader has to take, or, we've been able to work with our curriculum AP so they automatically enroll every eighth grader into orchestra at the high school and into all their fine arts so that they have to opt out. Students don't always want to go through that trouble, so that also helps your numbers. Definitely planning with your curriculum AP to make sure that, your top group isn't lined up with every singleton AP in the world. So definitely helps to have a good relationship with that person. And then know those graduation requirements backwards and forwards, because you're going to need to know them to help those kids over the next 4 years. So this is the logo we use on our t-shirt. Typically we do like a gray or black shirt and then purple print, but we've done white, we've done all purple shirt, done all kinds of things. But this is our shirt that we give our kids for our eighth graders, and all of our eighth graders get a shirt for the high school orchestra. And even if they're not going to take orchestra, we still give them a shirt. It's a walking advertisement. This is our logo we use on our case tags. These are imprinted in purple on clear case tags. And then I print business card size sheets with their name on it and slip those inside, and they have a personalized case tag to go with their cool t-shirt. Also, you want to talk up all the honors and awards that are available for high school students. We have graduation cords that our students can earn for taking 4 years of fine arts at the high school. So we show them that. Really amazing. The Department of Education here in Georgia has a fine arts pathway seal. If your school or school system does not know about this program, there's information about it on the Georgia Department of Education Fine Arts website. This is a great way to help retain our students. This is an awesome pathway seal that they can earn onto their high school diploma. Looks great for colleges and shows that they're committed to the arts in their school studies. And then also they can letter and orchestra and many other things that we show them just about what the culture of the high school is like. So definitely as you're recruiting, you want to work with your middle school teachers for placements. They know how those kids play better than anybody. They've had them for 3 years. If you want to hold auditions, that's great. Don't make it mandatory. I think in general, if you can put most of your freshmen together, it keeps kind of that comfort level with them that first year of high school. And sometimes if kids hear that word audition, they're like, I'm not taking audition. That's too scary. So that may run some kids off. So if you can maybe just have the option of doing auditions. When you select your audition music, pick music that's appropriate. If your highest orchestra level at your school plays a level 4, don't give level 6 excerpts. You want to make sure that it matches what they're going to actually do so that it doesn't feel disjunct. And then if you can possibly have them all enrolled in the same class to start, and then you can audition kids, that's also a great strategy. Again, it just gives them that familiarity with the people that they've been with, or if you're merging in more than one feeder school, puts all those ninth graders together and helps build that community with them. So some digital considerations for recruiting. We know SEL is more important than ever right now, and it's even important with recruiting. If you can find a way to engage those kids in some SEL activities, I think that's really helpful. If you can meet online with your eighth graders, you can pop into their classes and just hang out or watch the teacher or join and do sectionals. Or this is such a great environment in that sense that we can pop into their classes without even leaving our buildings. You can do online meet and greets with eighth graders and their parents, or some of your high school kids can talk about the program. You can set up online awards nights also to help retain students. You can do one-on-ones with students. Another good trick is to do Flipgrid videos from other students to your seniors to say goodbye, or you can encourage them to do videos to the eighth graders to welcome them. They can do Padlets to post their favorite orchestra memories, their favorite pieces, favorite activities, because that's a free program. Just to remind them why they love orchestra so much, because this environment digitally is tough and it can seem sometimes isolating to kids. And online socials, like you can do the online Netflix parties, movie nights, talent shows, different activities. We have so many talented people in our state that are posting on social media, and hopefully some of you will share some great ideas in our discussion post. Digital birthday, play alongs, or having everybody play for the birthdays, or some kind of birthday slide on your digital platform. It's really a great way just to, again, build that sense of community, keep those kids engaged, and get to know them better. So I'm going to talk just a bit about vertical teaming. Vertical teaming definitely is an important part of what we're doing. And I think as we're seeing more and more push towards really making sure we're all lining up across the board, it's becoming more and more important. So I talked about it in the sense of 5 W's: who, what, where, when, and then why and how. So we add the H there. So who you're going to vertical team with. It would be really helpful to vertical team with the elementary school teacher for music, middle school orchestra teacher, and the high school orchestra teacher. But even better, if you could maybe start as all the fine arts, so the elementary fine arts teachers, middle school fine arts teachers, high school fine arts teachers start in a big group and then break out into those subdivisions. That's a really great way to maybe conquer some of the issues in your community, talk about some of the important issues. So that's your who. Definitely you want to try to get all 3 levels involved so that you get the most bang for your buck. So where are you going to meet? You can meet anywhere. Great thing now is we have the ability to use all of these online meeting platforms, or you can use any school, any meeting space, any platform you choose, but anywhere you want to go. You can, do it anytime or place that feels like it'll be a good space that you guys can all meet in. Now with the digital experience, it's really convenient. We met as a vertical team last summer digitally with everyone. And it was really great because everyone could meet. I was in Florida when we did our vertical teaming. It was awesome. We had rented a beach house, and I was there at the beach house while everyone left and went to the beach, and I was able to do my vertical teaming meeting. So it's great to have that environment now that we can work in. So what are you going to meet about? Some of the topics that can be really important to our programs are common language or systems. So things like counting systems. What counting system do you want to use? Are you going to use scale degrees? Are you going to use solfege? Or, what are you going to use in your program? What do you want students to have learned? So what does a middle school teacher want to see sixth graders come in from general music with? What kind of knowledge do you want them to have? Do you want them to be able to maintain a steady beat? Should they be able to read music yet? Do you want them to recognize quarter notes, half notes, whole notes? And then for the high school teacher, what do you want your middle school students to come with to the high school? So should they already have vibrato? Do you want them shifting? Do you just want them to be able to sit in their chair with good posture and position and know how to read the notes on the page? So there's all of these ideas about common language and then common experiences across, as well as how are we going to recruit and retain in our programs? Vertical performance activities, or any other activities in your programs that you want to combine and do together, as well as massive fine arts activities or collaborative projects are great to talk about during vertical teaming. When you can meet anytime, obviously work days are great, but now I think we're all so busy with other things on work days. We have found in our team that summer is a great time to meet. Everyone's a little bit more relaxed. With the digital environment, they can meet from pretty much anywhere. Everyone's a little more chill. So summer has worked well, but whenever is convenient for everyone on your team and in your community. In our cluster, our schools are a little further apart, but in your area, they may be closer together. So it may be easy for you all to get together in an afternoon. Now, why are we meeting? What's the point of vertical teaming? So from my perspective, I think it's to build stronger community and to build that foundation for our students. We want to build that comprehensive K through 12 arts education. We want to hit all those Georgia standards of excellence and make sure that our students are getting everything that we are tasked with getting them. So I think it gives us that ability to really make sure we're all lining up and hitting all those touch points along the way. And then how we can create vertical teaming. Really helpful if you can choose someone in your team to be a point of contact and they can do the coordination for vertical teaming amongst everyone. There's great programs out there that everyone can choose from a set of dates, which date and time works best for them, and then you find the common one. There's all kinds of things, but if you can really have one point of contact, that'll make it easy to coordinate your vertical teaming. Vertical teaming is so important to help make sure that we're providing our students that comprehensive arts education in our music programs and in our fine arts programs. So the last section we're going to talk about today is just some quick student opportunities that are available to help our students engage in our programs and out in our communities. So the first area we're going to talk about is the GMEA events. Most of us are members of our Georgia Music Educators Association, and those events are what many of us do every year. We have our large group performance evaluation. Many of us have not had that event now for 2 years in a row due to our pandemic. And so we may be facing students coming back into our programs that have never gone to performance evaluation. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be new training and new thinking for us, but definitely LGPE is a great way to get your students really pedal to the metal, thinking about all the details and building their musical excellence. Solo and ensemble is a great way to engage and to have students prepare small groups or individual performances. All-state orchestra, I know many of our students audition for that every year. It's highly competitive, but a wonderful, rewarding experience. If you haven't had a chance to go and listen to the all-state groups, obviously this year they're virtual, but it's a wonderful experience to go to Athens and hear those groups play. And then if your district has the capability, if you want to offer a district honor orchestra, we just started this last year. We started it on a Saturday. Each school gets to send the same amount of students to participate, and they represented every school in the district. And we just did an all-day Saturday event and then had a concert at the end. It was so much fun. The kids had a blast. It got them really excited. They got to work with a great clinician. And it was a great way for our students to get out and do something different. And it was a GMEA sponsored event. So if you want more information about that, I'm happy to share with you the format that we used. But I know many districts already do that as well. So here are some of the honor groups that may be available for your students. Many of us have district honor groups if we work in districts that have many orchestra programs. I know my district has a junior group and a senior group for orchestra. But if your group doesn't, or if your district doesn't offer those programs, we know that there are all sorts of options in the Atlanta area. We are so fortunate to have a wealth of youth orchestras. Many of us feel, have had our students, or we ourselves have played in Atlanta Symphony Youth Orchestra, the Metropolitan Youth Symphony Orchestra, Emory Youth Symphony Youth Orchestra, Emory Junior Chamber Orchestra, and then there's many, many others out there. I find it really helpful to put together a list of these orchestras and provide them for my students with the websites and stuff, just so they know where to even go to find all of this information. It's really helpful for those students that are advanced or wanting to advance. If you have younger students, often starting them in that solo and ensemble area and then working towards those district honor groups and then working to some of those more advanced groups is really a great way to do it. And then here are just some other opportunities as your students are advancing, and for upper level high school students. And then even for middle school students, you can do performance trips, as simple as Disney, and as advanced as, there's Carnegie Hall program, Lincoln Center, Kennedy Center, all these great performance trips that we can provide for our students. The Governor's Honors Program from the Governor's Office of Student Achievement is a great summer program that your most advanced players can audition for. Cultural trips are another opportunity for our students to get out there, going to Europe or going to these places and planning activities that they can learn about music and not even do a performance. If you have some really advanced players, I really encourage you to look at the National Youth Orchestra programs. They have National Youth Orchestra 2, NYO2 is for our high school age students, and then NYO is for seniors and above that are going on into college, and it's really a phenomenal organization. There are Carnegie Hall workshops, conference performances, as well as the NAFME honor ensembles. And I'm sure I've forgotten some. So, there's so much out there now for students, and if you can really put all of these things in a one location so they can find them, I find it's really helpful for them to see, hey, if I want to be awesome, there are a lot of places for me to go and be awesome. In addition, I find that these are great opportunities to encourage kids to not be so competitive with each other in the program, but go outside of the program to be competitive. That way we kind of keep that nice family atmosphere in our program. So this is our closing slide. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch our webinar this month. I really hope to have you engage in our discussion posts. So many of you are so smart and I admire you so much. And I'm really excited to hear your ideas about these topics. Again, if you want to invite your friends, that please do and let me know if I can be of any help. And thank you so much for joining us this month.